audio, but I don't want to go through it all, but having some problems getting on the video side right now. So Mark, if you would, go ahead and put the EPN community site up, just so it's there. I'm going to take the screen once I get on. I'll get on, everybody. It's just going to take a second. Usually I just literally log in and I'm on, but not today. I've got to go. I have a password, by the way, that's 12 characters. It's just a combination of lowercase, uppercase numbers. I don't have it memorized, so I have to go and copy it because it won't recognize. What in the... All right. Well, guys, it's going to take me a couple minutes here just to get all the work done here. Getting in, it's not an easy process when you're coming in as an administrator. So, throwing any questions you guys have, we're going to talk about contracts tonight. No, this is not a discussion of any new things other than this is our get to work time. So I'm going to get. Would you bring up the associate or advisor product page, Mark, and pull up the spreadsheet for all the projects that we have tracked over the last period of time. I'm not going to be able to get in to go to webinar, so we're just going to have to talk. You won't even believe this, everybody, but I literally just use a program called LastPass, which 9 out of 10 times is just amazing. For some reason today, I went to copy my password, which, as I told you, is a 12-digit, just random uppercase, lowercase numbers, and letters. And anyway, it just erased it. So I don't have the password. It'll take me at least a half an hour to create a new password for GoToWebinar. So I'll just be talking. And unless you guys bring anything in for questions or comments, we'll be done really very quickly. So this is not my webinar. This is our webinar for EPN. I can be looking at everything that Mark's showing you and be doing. And I do want to talk about some things, but Mark's going to have to control the screen because I cannot log in to GoToWebinar. To an the associate's product page, which I would hope everybody on here can either get to that page or to the EPN free page. Has there been any comments or questions from anybody? Because we'll just end this real quick if there aren't any. Okay. Well, everybody, there's not going to be a talk today. This is just going to be discussing projects and your thoughts about EPN. So if you're just here to have some place to go and hang out, that's not what we're doing. Mark, are you to that page, follow the project? The spreadsheet? You're at the spreadsheet that is in, Mark, you got it. All right, when one of our staff can't even find what we do, it shows that we're really doing a terrible job. I apologize, everybody. Mark, on the associates product, are you in the associates product? And what are the categories? Read off the categories to me. There's, Mark, there's more than that number of categories. So I'll get there. Are there any questions or comments yet? Okay, you need to read that again, Mark. That's not probably what it said. Read it more specifically, because okay, these calls, and we'll have them 24 hours a day if we need to, Zeb, to get the work done. The whole world works under a remote process now. We've had to do that since the pandemic started if we were going to be successful. And the whole intent of EPN is to be a remote operation. So there's no need for brick and mortar. So there's a way to compete with the firms in the marketplace that have to charge very high prices, give very low quality, and alienate their customers and present a marketplace that is mysterious. And so on projects that we need to create teams for, by nature, by intent, by the mission statement of EPN, they will be remote. And so we'll be using communication tools, Zoom, GoToWebinar, and again, I apologize because I've done tens of thousands of hours on this, and I just today and yesterday, GoToWebinar has been a disaster for us. But we'll use these remote tools to communicate. Communication's a two-way street, though, and I've asked people to put in questions and comments and thoughts, and our membership just typically doesn't do it. So we're going to have to get people that are willing to understand that these aren't webinars, these are work sessions. And in work sessions, everybody that's involved has to contribute and has to communicate. Mark, under there's 4 different categories right now for the associates membership. The 4th one is the EPN business planning, marketing, operations, and financial. The 3rd one is the one that I want you to open, which is projects. Possible available government projects. Jeb, I don't know if that answered it for you, but any one of our members that has a potential project and should communicate that on these calls, these now every scheduled once a week calls. But if we need to do them, or these sessions, these meetings, I shouldn't call them calls. I'm on the phone right now, so it feels like a call. And I can't get into GoToWebinar because if I wanted to take the time right now, it would take me a half an hour to go in and set up a password to be able to get in, because I've just had some challenges here today with a program that I use called LastPass that I just love. I think it's the most amazing thing on the planet. And honestly, it very rarely screws up. But somehow it screwed up today and it erased my password. So I have no idea what my password for GoToWebinar is. I don't have time to recreate it. Mark, have you found the possible available government projects and put up on the screen the spreadsheet that we have on the website? Okay. So scroll all the way to the bottom of it. It is sorted by closing date for these government projects. And so on the projects to bid sheet, which Mark is showing on the screen, all of you could be looking at it also if you were on your website, on your Mark scrolling to the bottom. These are listed by closing date with the most recent closing dates at the top, so 4/27, which is today. And these are projects that would close today. Obviously, we're not getting proposals done for them because we don't have enough of a team yet to do that. And it's unlikely we could get proposals done for projects that are due tomorrow or the following day. But we can get proposals done for projects that are due either right now on what's called an unknown date, which is what is at the bottom of this list, or for those that are out in the future. But in terms of how you would submit a new project, you would get a hold of us either on these calls, tell us what the project is, tell us what team members are going to be needed for it, and how we would then begin to work on it. Or you can email me at waynedorband@gmail.com and describe the project and talk about who's going to be needed for the team to be working on it. So at the very bottom, which Mark has scrolled to, I hope, are a number of projects that have unknown closing dates. The one at the very bottom is a project in Michigan for dealing with contaminated soil removal, loading, and hauling. The next one's in Kentucky for bridge superstructure replacement, which, by the way, these are two that are probably somewhat outside of the scope of what EPN is intending to do, because these are really transportation projects, or they're not something specialized for environmental. AREEV is just now learning how to put these on here. It takes about 2 hours a day, or could be even a little longer, for us to go through all the government projects that we're getting through BidNet. And for New Zealand, for example, Zeb, we talked about this before. I guarantee that for New Zealand, there is a government database that puts their government projects that are out there. Any project that's listed in the farther up the list for one that's got an unknown date right now. By the way, unknown means that the specifications were written and the government agency has not yet decided when there's a bid due. Normally they do that when they actually want to have the potential bidders, the potential proposal writers, to communicate with them and tell them, gosh, this is really hard. I don't think I could get a proposal done for this until the middle of June or into July or whatever. And once they get a number of people commenting, then they set the date. So these are ones that we want to look at. Anytime you see something that says biological assessment, like the one that's from Washington, that's on an unknown date, that's probably one that involves ecological types of activities, assessments of wetlands, assessments of agricultural circumstances, and so on. So the first project on the list, which if Mark scrolls up a little bit, you'll be able to see from that is on 4/23/2025, is a pretty amazing that they ever put a project that far out. It's in New Mexico, and it's for a space-related project, which again, I'm going to be talking to AREEV about, but that probably shouldn't be on here. This is to create, this got put into the category of environmental, but it's probably to build some kind of a satellite. And that's not quite in our realm from environmental. The next one is 9/1/21, so it's September 1st of this year. That's much more likely in terms of being out there, and it's for monitoring and evaluation specialists. It's for the Department of the Treasury. And my guess is that's irrelevant. Also, my guess is that got somehow put into the category, and it is doesn't have anything to do with ecological or environmental. It's an auditing project. I haven't opened it up to look at it. But what we need help with is people doing just that. And we need to get people that are willing to volunteer their time to potentially allow us to get some of these projects initially. The EPN does not have a budget to pay people salaries to do the work that it does. Instead, it's intended to be an entity where people are working on a risk-reward basis, where you're willing to take risk to get future reward. And the risk here is not your money, it's your time. And your time would be to be on teams that are helping write proposals. So one of the skills we clearly still need, and right now I'm the only one that has this skill set, is just to even understand which of these projects that we get hundreds of every day to be able to put on this database. And I thought I'd been teaching Arib how to do it properly, but actually I obviously haven't, because we've looked at 4 projects so far, 4 or 5, every one of them shouldn't be on here. They're not environmental projects, ecological projects. This next one, it's just above it, that is for a project in West Virginia, is building a road. That's not environmental. It does have one little sentence down here that says environmental work as necessary. It just means that the road builder has to have somebody that can do environmental work. They usually will subcontract for that. So this is probably a huge project. And we'd probably like to know who ultimately gets awarded it. And we would talk with them about having us become their environmental team member. Mark, please interrupt me anytime that you see new questions or comments. Okay. Yeah, so far everything I'm seeing is that we're just not getting this. I'm not teaching Reed properly. This very next project right above the one, I haven't found a project yet that is really environmental or ecological. And the next one that's here is to get somebody that does work on social sciences, justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. That one might be, so it could be monitoring to accelerate recovery, and it relates to somebody that is to recover the Puget Sound, which is where Seattle is and where there's been any number of riots and other sorts of things. That might be what this is, and there might be a environmental component of it, but it's not really clear to me what that might be. So I'd have to see the specs and look at those, which if I could be on my computer today and show you, I would. The next one's to build ships. It's not at all relevant. 6/7/21. Gosh, I've got to talk to Arib again. The next one we finally get is one that is. So a project in Colorado where, notice, the bids are getting much, much sooner that they're due now. This one's due June 7th, not very far out. And it is to remove asbestos from some kind of a building. Again, I haven't opened up the specs, so I wouldn't know exactly which one here. And we rate it as fairly high. We're saying it's an 8, means it's probable that we could get this submitted and have a chance to win it. And this could be a $100,000 project, could be $1 million project. So I'm going to just start asking you guys questions. And I want you to just, all you got to do is use your fingers. Put in a number from 1 to 10 about whether you're interested in becoming a team member to help write proposals for projects. A 1 means that you're really highly interested and you would volunteer, and obviously we all have time constraints, but that you'd be able to potentially find time and you're interested, very highly interested. A 9 means you have no interest at all. A 5 would mean sort of maybe interest, and anything above a 5 would be really not very much, and below a 5 would be more, where 1 would be a lot of interest, 9 is none, and 5 is sort of in the middle, and sort of rate it from there. Mark, and you'll have to tell me what people are putting in for their thoughts. Don't give names, just tell me what numbers there are. All right. All right, well, again, this is intended to be a communication, and clearly it's not. I'm not really interested in doing a webinar tonight, guys. You can tell I'm a little bit upset right now, but I apologize for that, but it's just the reality. The intent of EPN is to be an organization that is a team and that is communication. And all I really did is ask you a simple question. I'll do a couple more things, but if we don't get any interaction, I'm just going to call it for the day, because why waste your time? Why waste mine? Mark, go to the very top of the page for the association. What's that? Okay. So I will tell you, if whoever's putting a 9 in, might as well jump off the call. This is not going to be an organization that you're going to really have any interest in. So if you know how to read or write, you have the skills. You don't know how to read or write, you don't have the skills. But if you know how to read or write, you have the skills. It's just a matter of it's desire that we're looking for here. They need to be taught then. That anything in life, that if you have a desire to do it, it's all a matter of your desire and your willingness to try and to then learn and potentially fail. So we're not looking for people who have skill sets. We're looking for people that have interests and desires. Mark, did you know how to do pretty much any of the things that you do for EAT and for EPN now before you got taught to do them? Well, how about hosting webinars? So the intent is that we're interested with people with interests, not necessarily skill sets. I'm going to have Mark go to another page here in just a second. So Mark, go to, leave it on this page for a second while it's here. Open up a tab for your Google Drive that's going to have the spreadsheet on it that is entitled so open up your drive, and what is shared with you is the EPN planning guide. Don't show it yet, but we're going to go to a certain page of it in a second here. My internet is slow, so it takes me just a second to get to it. No, just a second, Mark. I'm going to have you. Any other questions or comments? Again, whoever put that 9 in, again, did that make sense? That I'm not really looking for skill sets. We're looking for interest. Desire, and desire to do something. So Mark, go to the category in the associates membership, which is it's called EPN Business Planning - Marketing, Operations, and Financial. Okay, and you're on the same view that the members would have, not the admin view, correct? All right, so if you notice at the very top, this is something that's new from this week, and it's not for all our members, but it's for the associate members right now, which some of you are, but we're going to test it with the associates first, so you're seeing this if you're just checking this out right now. is that we've got what we call an assessment that we'd like people to fill out. And it's intended, as it says, to give EPN leadership and understanding of what aspects of our business are important to our membership. It's simple to complete, only take you a few minutes. We appreciate your input. So, Mark, if you would click on the start there, and let's start to look at it together. And it's a series of questions, 12 of them. So it says here, pick a rating between 1 to 12 for each of the following questions, using each rating only once. So that means that as you do this, you're probably just going to want to have a piece of paper so you know which question that you've given what answer to. So, and then you may even want to go back and submit it a second time and change your answers, but because you don't have to submit it, you can put all the answers in and then just quit and start over again. So Mark, I'm going to have you put some answers in here. And again, remember, a 1 means that it's really important to you, and a 12 means it's the least important, and you can only use it once. So we're going to make it simple this time and start with number 1 here, which is continuous networking opportunities with members all over the world. So why don't you put a 1 there, Mark? Just put it and then click on the next. Tell me when you're done, because then we'll go there. And then when you click next, you'll get to the second question. Actually, it's not the second question, it's the second category. So are you there? Mark, you with me? All right, so the second one, we're just going to rank these in order, 1 to 12 here, just so you see all of them. And that's probably the way to do this, just to get through it. So the second is ongoing education on disciplines that provide career enhancement. So that might be something that you'd want if you really didn't know a lot of these things. And so, and that could be either webinars that are either free, low cost, or more costly. It could be continuing education leader in an industry, live events, local, regional, national. So just put a 2 there, Mark, and then that'll allow you. You can put anything in the answer. You could just put a question mark and it'll allow you to go to the next one. The third one is job and contracting opportunities, which is really the primary reason that we created EPN, but we know that some of our members aren't going to think this is the most important, but so in this case, we'll put a 3 there. But if it was the most important to you, you'd put a 1. Number 4 is actually what's probably the most important to me, which is to allow project teaming opportunities that allow small companies to compete with the industry giants. Because as you've heard me say before, that's what I know we can do. We can do it better, we can provide better quality results, and we can do it for less money. Number 5 is, did you have something, Mark? Yeah, for now it is. Yeah, it doesn't matter what number you put in. When you do it to finish it off, you should not put the same number in twice, but people can maybe do that. By the way, we get results from this, but we don't get who did what with it. In other words, it's anonymous. So number 5 is professional labor availability for projects without having to increase permanent employee counts and overhead. So if you're a 1-person show, it means you don't have to hire somebody else. If you're a 10-person operation, you don't have to hire an 11th person or a 12th person, and so on. Again, EPN is primarily for sole proprietors, people doing things on their own, or for very small businesses, probably up to the very most 20 people, but probably in the 10 to 20 would be the top range. Number 6 is ongoing communication about industry trends that would not be available elsewhere. So what are the trends in the industry? Again, I'm just putting a 6 there. I'm just putting 1 to 12 through these. The next one is business and life coaching and mentoring. Just, number 7. The next one is sales and marketing training. Again, I've founded and operated multiple environmental businesses through the last 40 years. 90% of the people that work for me never wanted to ever have to do anything in sales and marketing. And that's probably rightfully so. They didn't spend years of their lives in education and maybe even with other jobs as a professional in whatever that area that their expertise was in to go out and learn how to sell. And that's a great and probably a better answer to the person that put a 9 in earlier that said they don't really, they didn't have the skills available to be to help write a proposal. And writing a proposal is not really selling. The selling was done by the agency or the entity that put the bid package together. You are selling to them in the contents of your proposal. But again, that's not what really we need help with at the front end. We need help with tasks that just take time. A lot of this work is just time consuming. So again, I put an 8 there, but I think that would be probably more important for some and really less important for others. This is the one that is probably really important, and that is for some is the sales and marketing assistance or elimination. In other words, you don't like to sell, so you need assistance, or you don't want to sell at all. You want to get rid of it. You just want to go do your work. You want to teach people how to farm sustainably or regeneratively, or you want to show them. You want them to come to your place of business and see how you do it. But you don't want to have to sell to them to get them to come there. Number 10 is comprehensive project listings, which is what this BidNet, where we get these government projects, is. This Commerce Business Daily used to be something you just got in the States that came out in a written format where you could get it online, and it just listed projects that had no details about them. You couldn't get the specifications from them. So you had to do a whole bunch of additional work, hours and hours of work to get the information. Well, BidNet gives that to us essentially, as I say here, on steroids for public projects, not private. So this could be the most important to some people. Employee-related benefits, which is number 11. This could be the only reason somebody would want to be an EPN associate member, and that's to get discounts on professional liability insurance, or health insurance, or general liability insurance, or a retirement plan, or, gosh, something we haven't even thought about yet. Who knows what it is? And then finally, number 12 would be virtual administrative services. By the way, there could be lots more than 12 here, but these are just sort of the 12 that surfaced as we thought about this to the people that founded EPN. But again, sales teams, administrative services, receptionists, more. So when you finish number 12, you actually submit. If you just decide, you know what, I just did this for practice, I now want to go back and do it for real, don't click on submit. Literally just leave the page and go to another one of your pages. So Mark, if you do that now, don't click submit. If you already did, that's fine. But go back to one of the other categories. So let's go back to the category we were looking at before with projects on it, and then come back to this one and the assessment will start all over again. You can fill it out again. And your previous results would have never been submitted. Yeah, that's all right. If you click submit, and it already, if you did that, then it told you thank you for your results and so on. So I mean, that was. Right. Yep, and you can do that. That's the other way you can do it. But I was even making it to where if you didn't want to submit your results at all. Now, several other new things on this page, which maybe, Mark, you can just click and open up. The people who were the founders of EPN back in 2014 that joined me, of which one of them is just still with me now, they actually committed, they completed this assessment we were just talking about. And you could click on that, Mark, the one that says 2014 assessment by owners, and just open up the PDF and just show that on the screen. By the way, all of you guys can do this. We're just showing you if you have associate membership. And you tell me when it's up. So this is exactly what we just did. And this was how three of our founders ranked these. And mine is in the column that says WD rank. John Nillen is JN rank. And Justin Lichter, which was our literally young person, just learning environmental, the way he ranked things. So notice that Justin and I both ranked job and contracting opportunities as number one. John ranked project teaming opportunities, and that cut off I should have changed this a little bit. We'll go back and change it, but that basically means that you can compete better with the big boys. He ranked that as number one. I ranked, and I would still rank job and contracting opportunities, or excuse me, project teaming opportunities. I'm the one, excuse me, I rank that project teaming as one. I'd still rank project teaming opportunities as number one. Job contracting opportunities, John and Justin ranked as one. I and Justin ranked professional labor availability as two in 2014. I'd still rank that as two today. John ranked project teaming opportunities. So notice we were all really pretty similar in our 1 to 3 rankings. The fourth ranking, I ranked continuous networking as number 4. I actually wouldn't rank that high today because I have the ability to have amazing additional networking through EAT. And back to your question, Zed, when we started EAT coming up on 5 years ago, I was feeling somewhat disconnected from others out in the ecological world, the Ecolonomic world. And now over the last 5 years, having created a network of over 28,000 people, it's been easy to figure out how to get connected and feel comfortable and have continuous networking opportunities. So EPN is going to create that same sort of thing for people, but in a more specific context of people that want to make money with environmental type projects and ecological projects. And notice that Justin also ranked that really high. John ranked it in the top half, but he ranked it as 5. Now I'm just going to go through some of the others. Ongoing education. I thought that was also something that would be really good, because there'd be many, many people. And again, today that I could learn from. Today I wouldn't rank it so high, because we've had so much amazing success interviewing people through EAT. So at that time, I saw it as just a super opportunity. John Millen didn't see it that. He saw that as really low probability. I would rank that, both of these, in my bottom half now, the continuous networking and ongoing education. They'd probably be ranked 8 and 9 rather than 4 and 5 by me. I ranked ongoing communication about what's going on in the industry as 6. I'd probably still keep that somewhere in the middle. Business and life coaching, I ranked as 7. I would love to be able to get more business and life coaching. That would be people who could become teachers for me. And so I might rank this higher. I'd probably move this up to, again, somewhat in that 4 or 5 category. Sales and marketing training, I'd rank that lower today, and I'd move that down to probably 12, and be much lower ranked today. Sales and marketing assistance, I'd have that lower ranked too. I'd put that as 11. So those would be 11 and 12. The comprehensive project listings, I do so much private work that I don't feel a need to get public work. So I wouldn't rank that as 11 or 12, because I've already said the sales and marketing training would be, but that would be marked, that would probably be somewhere in the 9 or 10 range. Health insurance, or the employee-related benefits, like health insurance, E&O, and GL, I rank that low. Notice that John Millen ranked that fairly high. Justin also ranked it fairly low. And I could see how some people would rank that really high, and it wouldn't be down as low as 10 anymore. For me, it'd probably be in that 9 range. And then finally, virtual sales assistants. I already have amazing ones of those. And back in that time frame, Mark, we were maybe just barely getting associated, but I was just figuring out how to use that whole concept of virtual assistants and working remotely and so on. So that wasn't as important then, and it's also probably in similarly low importance now, although I already had a 12, so I wouldn't rank it as that. All right, Mark, we're going to open up another page here. I'm going to show, so click on the EPN projected cash flow for the initial 12 months, the third PDF here. So open that PDF. Both of these are very small, by the way, in terms of their size. Now, this one you're going to want to blow up probably so people can see it better, Mark, because there's a lot of information here. So the numbers are not that. You can look these numbers up yourself if you're associate members, and we may add this to our free member group, but right now this is just what we want our associates to have very good knowledge of. And we want some criticism of this and some constructive, changes to it if there's justifications for them. But up the top here are what we assume will be the cost of various products and things that we would make sales of. So, for example, a student membership is number A. That's $39 a year. And I'm just showing you how this spreadsheet's working. And so that's the top below money in. It shows student memberships, and the numbers on the row here, starting at month 1, 2, 3, and so on, are the numbers of student members that we project we could attract. So notice that we're not saying that we'll attract any in months 1 or 2. And by the way, month 1 is really starting May 1st. So we're assuming the first month of operations is going to be in May. And so the first month we've been working now in April has really just been sort of our startup time frame. Notice we don't say we're going to have any sales during that time frame, but we would add no student members in month 1, none in month 2, but we'd add 20 in month 3. And that's because we'd find 1 or 2 professors at universities that would become sponsors for us of a environmental professionals network group at their particular universities. And Seb, there's an example, and anyone else from other countries, where there's no reason that this student membership couldn't be at universities all over the world. And I think we greatly underestimated what this one could potentially be. I'm mainly showing you how to use this chart. Associate members is the next one, and that's a B. And notice that we charge and by the way, this is not showing this right. Yeah, it is. No, it is 2. I'm sorry. It's 249 is C for annual, and monthly would be 25. And because if you go 25 times 12, that's going to actually be $300. We want that the people pay monthly to be more than if they paid it just in one shot at $249. So that's what C is. And then it shows how many we estimate that we bring in. We then do a sum of all that. We get a total. So that's down here with sales total. Then we've given some estimates of what our money out would be. Here's one thing you should keep in mind. We're paying commissions. If you guys go and find members, you refer members, you don't have to sell to them. Just say, hey, you should think about joining this. And then our staff will do the selling to them. You could generate and get a sales commission of 25%. We're assuming every sale we make will have a 25% sales commission. We're going to have other marketing costs of about 8%, and then we just added what's called churn, and that means that the number of people that will be not renewing from month to month or year to year, so on. And then we have they're not really fixed, but we're treating them like they're fixed costs for all of our cost elements, and it gives what profits could be. And this is really a cash flow statement. So, it shows that EPN should be able to make about $200,000 in year 1. 50% of that goes back to our advisor members, which we're going to be making choices of, and the associate members get a portion of that also. So this is just something for you guys to review and to be able to look at. And again, some of you are associate members. And then the last thing is a little white paper. So if you go back to the page again, Mark, that is one that I actually wrote back in 2013, and it's updated recently. And it was really interesting how minimal changes there were from that time. Really just updating some realities of today versus then, changes in the world and so on. But it's just something that you might want to look at. You don't have to open it up again now, Mark. And we'll be adding things to this site every week. Well, every day we add projects that are in the sheet that we looked at earlier. So what other questions and comments do we have from anybody? Again, I apologize. I was not able to get my video going today for this. Problems with GoToWebinar. Again, long story, but something that we need to deal with. We need to get it fixed. Anything else? Okay. All right. Well, give everybody just a little bit more time. and we'll call it for the evening, or the afternoon, or the morning, or wherever, depending on where you're at. Anything else, Mark? Okay, any comments from anyone? Why don't you guys throw in a 1 if you got some knowledge, something good out of today, or throw in a 9 if it just wasn't of any value at all. Are you seeing anything there, Mark? All right. Well, it's easy to, that's one where if there was going to be some response, we'd probably just, whoa, there's something weird going on there. Mark, I think something's happening on your end. Anyway, thanks everybody. It was useful for me to go through some of this. Again, apologize that we had some issues with our system. We will figure that out and make it better. Got some awesome other webinars coming up. We had a little bit of a technical challenge, and it wasn't a GoToWebinar issue, but with our amazing speaker, Bill Cobb, yesterday, and Bill's going to reschedule to finish up his webinar. And then we're just continuing to schedule other new ones. We appreciate you guys coming to those webinars. And in this session next week, we'll talk about projects. We'll get our system fixed and be willing to roll up your sleeves and maybe help a little bit with some, even if it's just while you're online. You're on it right now. And there will be a forum that we create that's not done yet, because right now we're literally just getting started. And so, Craig, everyone who is an EPN free member is also an EAT free member. And Mark, maybe you can show the member forum for EAT free, because we'll create the same thing for EPN. We have almost 30,000 members in EAT, but we get very minimal use of that forum. And that's where the intent is, to be able to communicate with other members. Well, we don't have that for EPN yet, but we do for EAT. And I don't know that we will do it for EPN. EPN's not intended to be a social circumstance. EAT is. Right, we haven't created that for EPN yet. We still are, we're at 119 members of EPN right now, compared to 28,000 plus for EAT. But it is a little disappointing that people don't use the forum as much as they could to communicate with others. You can find a list of members, by the way, and we're there's a place on your site where you can get the community, and it'll list everybody. And then you can actually ask us if those people have contact information, if you have specific ones that you want to interact with, that you know. And by the way, it isn't everybody. Some people don't want their information to be put onto our membership listing. So we honor their privacy interests in a big way. That's really important to us. Thanks for that, Craig. That's a great question. Any question's a great question too, by the way. All right, anything else, Mark? All right, well then let's give it, let's call it for the day.